So I'd like to introduce our third speaker. It is Norah Lewis from RAP in the UK. She's a technical specialist in circular economy strategy. Norah will be talking about the UK Plastics Pact, which is a cross-industry collaboration which is aiming to eliminate unnecessary single-use plastics. Norah Lewis.
Thanks very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Very kind introduction from Tim there. I'm Norah Lewis, a technical specialist from RAP, and I'm absolutely delighted to be here today to talk to you about the UK Plastics Pact. So what is RAP? It's an especially difficult company name to be here with today because I'm not talking about plastic shrink wrap. RAP stands for the Waste and Resources Action Programme. It's a not-for-profit organisation based in the UK, but working internationally to forge powerful partnerships and deliver change to generate solutions that build a world in which resources are used sustainably. So RAP is really uniquely positioned to work with a wide range of partners in a highly respected and neutral space. RAP is an evidence-based organisation, so everything that we do is defensible, it's referenced, it's really highly researched. We use our convening power to bring together stakeholders from 26 different countries, and we're driven by the UN's Global Sustainability Development Goals, especially number 12, responsible production and consumption. Our main focus areas are to reduce food waste, textile waste, electrical waste, and of course, plastic packaging waste. RAP was founded back in the year 2000, and since then we've been working really hard with industry to try and transform the packaging sector. We've got a few of our favourite examples here for you. We worked with Coca-Cola back in the year 2007 to help them lightweight their 500 milliliter PET bottles. This resulted in an 8% overall reduction of material used, and it was the lightest bottle available on the market at the time. We also developed a pioneering closed-loop recovery and reuse system for HDPE milk bottles. Again, this was kind of a world first because it demonstrated that post-consumer HDPE could be used, could achieve full food contact status, and as such, all UK HDPE milk bottles now contain 30% recycled content. Recycle Now is also a really big part of what we do at RAP. It's one of our consumer-facing campaigns. It provides advice and information and reaches every UK household and informs us how and where to recycle all of our waste, not just plastic packaging. And for anyone that's been to the UK, you'll be familiar with the green swoosh. It's on absolutely everything. We've also worked with Boots, Marks & Spencer's, and a number of other organisations to demonstrate the feasibility of using recycled PET in their retail packaging. So much like many of you in the room, especially at a sustainability section of the packaging event, we've been working really hard within this industry for a number of years to implement positive changes. But last year, something really remarkable happened. The BBC's David Attenborough documentary Blue Planet 2 showed a 1-minute sequence on plastic ocean pollution. And the response was absolutely ginormous. The collective consciousness of the nation changed almost overnight. And a lot more people became mindful of plastic, how they use it, and where it might end up. It really captured the imagination, and ever since, the pressure for change and focus on reducing, reusing, and recycling packaging has massively increased. Of course, there's always been campaigns to reduce the amount of plastic waste produced, but campaigns within the last year have become a lot more focused on this issue. The Greenpeace #IsThisYours campaign is especially impactful because it's so visceral and it targets both consumers and producers at the same time. We've also seen Surfers Against Sewage, which again, massively impactful in the UK particularly. And there was also a 38 Degrees petition which led to Walker's Crisps announcing that they were going to be launching their own crisp packet recycling program. So of course we're not saying that all packaging is bad. Packaging transports our food, for example, safely and securely. It provides us with vital information. It keeps the food fresh and uncontaminated. And it also plays a massive role in keeping that food fresher for longer. I think food waste has been mentioned a couple of times already in this segment, but it aligns perfectly with one of WRAP's other key focus areas, which is food waste minimisation and prevention. The UK throws away around 7 million tonnes of food every single year, and most of that food could have been consumed. Many of the biggest food waste categories, such as dairy, fresh produce, meat and fish, rely on packaging and plastic to keep it fresh. We also use 1.5 million tonnes of consumer packaging in the UK and recycle or recover around 67% of that. It's a real balancing act for us at WRAP to make sure that the pressure on plastics and packaging doesn't have a knock-on negative effect and actually add to the creation of more food waste. In answer to that, we've created the UK Plastics Pact, with a clear vision to tackle problematic plastic waste and not to demonise it. We want to keep it circulating within the economy and out of the oceans. So although it is the UK Plastics Pact, our focus extends beyond just the UK, because plastic waste is a global challenge, but it does require local and national action. We've partnered up with the Ellen MacArthur Foundation to support their global vision of a new plastics economy. For example, we've worked recently with Australia, who have just launched their plastic targets, and they're in line with the Ellen MacArthur Foundation's vision for a new plastics economy and the UK Plastics Pact. So what's in scope? It's quite a large scope. Our focus is, of course, on plastic packaging, but it's also on single-use, non-recyclable items. We're looking at all plastic packaging that's placed on the UK market and all the different polymers and packaging formats. We're looking at the whole plastics value chain, and we're hoping to build on the current momentum to increase citizen participation and catalyse some real behaviour change. We can't do this alone. Again, it's been mentioned the regulatory reform that's come in at the moment. There are lots of external factors and other major actions that will be needed to help the UK Plastics Pact be successful. It will require action from governments, businesses, the waste and resource sector, as well as citizens. We're already starting to see some real support from government. The UK is behind this initiative. And then also we're starting to see a lot of innovation within the companies that have signed up, but are also working within this space. So in order to achieve this, we've set out 4 fairly ambitious targets, all of which we're hoping to achieve by 2025. Number 1 is to make all plastic packaging either 100% reusable, recyclable, or compostable. Number 2 is to ensure that 70% of plastic packaging is either recycled or composted. So obviously heard the figure of 90% collected, but we need to make sure that that is then processed correctly. Number 3 is to eliminate problematic or unnecessary single-use items through redesign, innovation, and alternative delivery models. And number 4 is to have an average of 30% recycled content across all plastic packaging, much like the HDPE milk bottles from earlier on. So in order to achieve those targets, we've had to break it down and provide a step-by-step action program. We've established some collaborative action groups in order to achieve those targets, and they've already begun work on some key projects that underpin and support those targets. The first group, for example, is looking into the definitions of what constitutes as unnecessary or problematic single-use plastics. If it's not defined, then there's no consistency, and then how will we ever be able to measure against what we have achieved? They've drawn up a strategy of actions to implement and address the challenges, and will be monitoring and reporting on the progress throughout the project. The second group has already begun creating clear criteria also for recyclable, reusable and compostable packaging, and agreeing what success will look like for 2025 and how to embed those changes into business. The third collaborative action group is focusing on measuring and reporting each of the targets and supporting us with the development of a data reporting platform. And the final group is looking into developing a roadmap specifically looking at film and flexible plastics, focusing on optimizing the sorting and collection phase of that process. So the UK Plastics Pact was launched just 6 months ago, so we've certainly been very busy. We now have over 100 organisations signed up to the Pact, and those 100 members represent 85% of the plastic packaging placed on the UK market through supermarkets. A lot of our members have already started work on the 4 targets set out by the UK Plastics Pact. For example, Coca-Cola have added a Recycle Me message to all of their bottles. That reaches 500 million consumers every single year. Marks & Spencer's have introduced FSC certified wooden cutlery. This is to replace the 75 million pieces of plastic cutlery that's handed out through their stores each year. Asda, who are a large supermarket in the UK, have removed the plastic packaging that was previously on their Swedes. This is vegetables, not the people. And that's resulted in the removal of 15 tons of plastic. Sorry, 14 tons. An Innocent's new smoothie bottle, for example, contains 50% recycled content and 15% plant-based content. For even more success stories, all of these case studies are available for free online, and you can review them in more detail if you like. So our members have certainly been busy, but so have we. We've been working together to publish a number of reports providing relevant guidance and tools. Our rigid plastic packaging report is a design guide that was produced in partnership with Recoup, and it details how to design packaging for maximum recyclability and provides tips on alternative packaging solutions. Another great report that's out there and available for free download clarifies the differences between the materials used to make plastic packaging, the way that plastics behave under certain conditions, and then also the terminology and the language that's used to describe plastics. Consumer engagement is also hugely important to us in the UK and at WRAP. Through our consumer-facing campaign Recycle Now, which I mentioned earlier on, we work with organisations to get the message of recycling correctly out there and at scale. Each September we have a Recycle Week, and this year we saw a record number of support from businesses and organisations. Many chose to focus on packaging, recycling, and plastics. So we reached #1 on Twitter's trending list and a record number of hits on our YouTube channel. We're not saying that to show off, although we are very, very proud of it. These are absolutely unprecedented results for WRAP. We've never seen numbers like this, and it really just goes to show how much interest has changed and increased even within the space of the last year. We're also producing a roadmap. It's pending approval from the Pact members, but it should be out any day now. It's going to outline the steps that we're going to take to achieve those targets by 2025. And the idea for this report is that it's replicable, so you could pick it up and implement it anywhere else. So do look out for that if you need some inspiration or guidance. And finally, I know that you're all really excited to find out who's won the various sustainability awards this afternoon. If you are interested in carrying on, keeping up the good work, or maybe just trying something completely new, we've just launched a 1.4 million grant/competition, and we're looking to support creative business ideas to prevent plastic from being thrown away and to reduce the environmental impacts of plastic packaging, to increase the overall circularity of plastics in the market. So that's all from me. I just want to say thank you so much for coming and listening. I hope that it's been inspiring. If you want to learn any more about any of the case studies or the Plastics Pact, it's all available online. Thank you very much.